Beyond Limits, 2025, is a poignant drama that intricately weaves true-life inspiration with fictional threads to delve into the human spirit's resilience in adversity. The narrative follows Ethan Cole, an accomplished rock climber whose life shatters after a harrowing accident leaves him partially paralyzed. The film beautifully documents his quest for recovery and self-redefinition amidst overwhelming challenges. The film kicks off with an exhilarating scene in Patagonia where Ethan exemplifies grace and expertise as he navigates a steep rock face. This visually stunning sequence suddenly descends into tragedy when a rockslide causes him to fall. The subsequent blackness signifies the abrupt end of a carefree life as he wakes in a hospital bed grappling with severe injuries and immobility. The ensuing segments depict Ethan's grueling emotional journey paralleling his physical struggles. Once confident and directed, he becomes ensnared by feelings of vulnerability and despair. Flashbacks to his triumphant past flood the screen. Gold medals, magazine features, and a loyal fanbase now replaced by daunting realities and fading aspirations. Ethan's relationships also deteriorate under the weight of his circumstances. His girlfriend Mia strives to be a pillar of support, yet the trauma creates an emotional chasm between them. Likewise, his brother Dylan feels alienated by Ethan's withdrawal from familial connection. The once thriving family atmosphere is now saturated with unspoken anxieties and pain. The film delicately portrays these dynamics without lapsing into excessive sentimentality. A pivotal moment arises when Ethan encounters Sophie Lynn, a rehabilitation therapist whose no-nonsense demeanor invigorates Ethan's stagnant outlook. A former athlete herself, Sophie knows the complexities of injury and refuses to indulge Ethan's victimhood. She urges him to view his current state as a catalyst for reinvention rather than a limitation. Their sessions, fraught with intensity and occasional clashes, become a turning point as Sophie's unwavering faith instills a sense of possibility within Ethan. Alongside his rehabilitation, Ethan meets a diverse group of adaptive athletes, each confronting their own obstacles. Initially, he harbors resentment towards their shared condition, reluctant to acknowledge the larger community. Yet as he learns their stories, including that of Marco, a veteran competing in wheelchair marathons, and Leela, a dancer who adapted through aerial silks, his perspective begins to shift. Through adversity, discipline, and the connections forged with others, Beyond Limits illustrates a journey filled with heart, highlighting the infinite potential of the human spirit to rise, evolve, and find strength in vulnerability. Ethan's physical rehab journey becomes intertwined with a profound internal exploration as he revisits his childhood hometown and seeks to reconnect with his estranged brother. This process highlights his struggle with the fear of being forgotten. In an effort to cope, he turns to journaling and eventually starts a vlog aiming to share the raw honesty of his experience rather than seeking fame. Documenting his vulnerabilities transforms into a source of strength, enabling him to rebuild connections with those around him. Sophie, his rehab coach, introduces adaptive climbing, a concept that initially feels like a mockery of his former achievements. However, the film dedicates significant time to illustrate Ethan's gradual transformation as he challenges himself. Although his hands tremble and sweat drips down his face, he slowly begins to find a rhythm. This journey shifts the focus from reclaiming his past to embracing a new version of himself, one that remains daring and capable despite his limitations. An emotionally poignant moment arises when Mia, a key figure in Ethan's life, returns after a prolonged absence. Their honest conversation marks a turning point. Mia reveals that her departure was not solely due to his injury but stemmed from Ethan's tendency to push her away. Their reconciliation is depicted with subtlety and sincerity, emphasizing growth instead of a return to their previous dynamic. The film effectively showcases relationships as complex and evolving, avoiding cliched narratives. As Ethan builds strength through rehab and adaptive climbing, he sets his sights on a formidable challenge: to scale the south face of Mount Arrow, an unscaled route notorious for its challenging terrain. His decision to undertake this climb draws skepticism and concern from others, along with admiration for his determination. Supported by Sophie and an enthusiastic group of adaptive athletes and professional climbers, he embarks on an intense training regimen. The film does not shy away from hardships, showcasing injuries, doubts, and weather complications while still highlighting the beauty found in each struggle and breakthrough. The climax unfolds during Ethan's ascent of Mount Arrow, captured through a striking combination of aerial drone shots and intimate close-ups. Each significant moment during the climb intertwines with scenes from his rehab, therapy, and personal life, illustrating how every experience has culminated in this moment. Upon reaching the summit, Ethan's experience is not framed as a traditional victory but rather a profound emotional release. As the wind roars around him and the vast world stretches out, Ethan smiles, not from pride but from a deep sense of peace. The film concludes with a poignant scene where Ethan is teaching a group of young children at a community climbing gym, including a boy in a wheelchair and a girl with a prosthetic limb. In this moment, Ethan has moved beyond the pursuit of fame and perfection. He's helping others discover their own potential and capacity to transcend limitations. The final frame captures a chalk-covered hand grasping the climbing wall, symbolizing a reaching upward toward hope and achievement. The narrative unfolds in the majestic silence of Patagonia's towering cliffs, where professional climber Ethan Cole skillfully navigates a rugged rock face. The ambient sounds of his breath and the friction of his fingers on stone create an immersive rhythm that echoes the heartbeat of nature. This serene intensity is abruptly interrupted when a loose rock dislodges, leading to a slow-motion fall as Ethan descends into darkness. Ethan awakens in a clinical hospital room filled with ominous machines and quiet whispers. Disoriented and in pain, he confronts the grim reality: a spinal injury has left him partially paralyzed. The camera captures his stunned expression as the weight of this revelation sinks in, his hands clenching in frustration rather than strength. This physical trauma marks merely the onset of his broader emotional struggle. A sequence of intimate and raw moments follows. Ethan grapples with the challenges of sitting up, shuns visitors, and reacts explosively to the medical staff's attempts to assist him. His girlfriend Mia tries to offer solace, but the distance between them is palpable. His brother Dylan, filled with concern, receives only cold nods in return. Ethan's identity as an athlete, a man characterized by control and bravery, lies in ruins. Upon entering a rehabilitation center, Ethan encounters Sophie Lynn, a forthright and steadfast physical therapist. Their first interaction is tense. Sophie perceives Ethan not as a victim but as a challenged individual, pushing him to confront his situation. Though her bluntness initially irritates him, it also ignites a dormant spark within. Their evolving relationship sets the stage for the arduous rehabilitation journey ahead. Simultaneously, Ethan is introduced to a support group for adaptive athletes. At first he remains skeptical and judgmental, resistant to their optimism. However, as he hears their stories, like that of a young veteran relearning to surf or a former gymnast performing with prosthetic legs, his barriers begin to dissolve, forcing him to confront his own despair. The daily reality of rehab is depicted with honesty. Ethan learns to maneuver his wheelchair, grapples with various exercises, and experiences a cascade of failures before small successes. He expresses his anger in solitude, breaking objects and weeping alone. These struggles are interspersed with ethereal flashbacks of his past mountaineering experiences, evoking a haunting contrast between his previous vitality and current challenges. Mia ultimately departs from Ethan, not driven by anger but by a profound sense of sorrow. She expresses her feelings of helplessness, admitting that she no longer knows how to reach him emotionally. Their farewell feels gentle yet unresolved, leaving a lingering tension. In her absence, Ethan descends into a dark spiral. He neglects his rehab sessions, resorts to drinking alone, and isolates himself from even Sophie, a person who has been supportive throughout his journey. It is Dylan, however, who steps up to confront Ethan, not with aggression but by posing a pivotal question: are you really done? This question prompts Ethan to return to rehab, albeit with reluctance. Sophie's approach is pragmatic, providing him with a new set of rehabilitation exercises without showering him with accolades. Gradually a change begins to take shape. Ethan attempts adaptive climbing for the first time, an experience that proves to be both awkward and humbling. He finds himself failing often, yet within that struggle he starts to feel a spark of life rekindle. He begins to document his climbing attempts through videos, not seeking validation or attention but as a form of personal therapy. To his surprise, others start to watch his journey and connect with his struggles, forging a community around their shared experiences. As Ethan continues to build physical strength, his confidence also begins to flourish. He re-engages with the adaptive athletes group, approaching them with curiosity and openness. Among the group he forms a close friendship with Leela, and together they tackle outdoor climbing routes. These new adventures are beautifully interspersed with vibrant sunlit visuals, creating a stark contrast to earlier, more somber scenes in the hospital. The embrace of nature becomes a critical source of healing for him. Ethan musters the courage to reach out to Mia, not to reignite their past romance but simply to express his gratitude. Their conversation becomes a moment of honesty and catharsis, touching on shared memories without the weight of unresolved emotions. Meanwhile, Ethan and Dylan embark on a training hike, allowing the brothers to reconnect and share light-hearted banter. This exchange becomes a means for them to begin healing from past wounds. For the first time, Ethan articulates his deep-seated fear, not of death itself but of living a life devoid of purpose. Motivated by this sense of purpose, Ethan sets an ambitious goal: to climb Mount Arrow, a notoriously treacherous peak he had previously deemed impossible. Now it symbolizes not just a physical challenge but a testament to his resilience and growth after overcoming numerous obstacles. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.